Jozi My Jozi, your people are gold. And most of the time, brands do it the other way around. It's like they have this cool caption, and then they write like their small, brand sign off. And we wanted to create a brand where the messaging is actually part of the logo. For me, it was one of those once in a lifetime decisions that I had to make. Everything was nice. I was getting paid in dollars. I was living in New York. Everything was so nice. But probably won't have enough budget or money to actually fix all the problems that are in the city. So if you actually divvy up with private, public, and the city has actually played a very important part, because you can't do anything without the city. So first of all, you have to get the city's buy-in for them to say, Jozi My Jozi, come in as our strategic partners. Tell us where we're going right, where we're going wrong, and working together, right? You can't even fix a pothole in Joburg without the city's approval. You get arrested, so. I sang Rose, so fun, Sunday morning presentations. Yay! You must know how much I love Rose. If I'm waking up at so early on a Sunday, Rose. So, my name is Melusi Mhlungu. Born in Soweto, raised in Kondla. So I've got like this mix of rural, but also I think like urban, upbringing, right? Which I think to this day has probably shaped the creative that I am, and to some extent they constantly changing in my life. Like Rose said, recently being appointed the brand lead for Nando's, which is a big brand and a big task, to be trusted with, especially for a young agency like mine. But with that, there is this other special brand that I've been working on ever since I came back from the States. So just a quick background, and what I'm about to talk to you guys about is Jozi My Jozi, the branding aspect. So to create the actual brand, what it took, what was the thinking behind it, some decisions that had to be made up front before there was even a logo, before there was even a strategy. There was just fundamental value things that we spoke about, the kind of brand that we wanted to create. So my background is in advertising and branding. I worked for a couple of agencies here in South Africa, one being FCB, worked on a lot of Vodacom commercials, and then a lot of KFC commercials at an Ogilvy agency called Ogilvy. And then in 2015, 16, I won Young Creative of the Year award at Lurie's. And my life changed, got headhunted, moved to the States to work as a creative that side. And I just want to play you guys one clip of the kind of work that I started making before I came back home. So this was probably my first ever script that I wrote when I arrived in the States. And I've always dreamt about making Super Bowl commercial. Even if you are in advertising, the Super Bowl is always like the biggest thing. And ended up landing that as the first script that I wrote. So this was called Typical Americans, and I'll talk about a little bit of the inspiration behind this and how it led to Jozi My Jozi.
They call us typical Americans. Maybe because we live typical American lives. Like this typical American, showing off his strength. So typical. Look at him, touching other people's things. Always so competitive. Typical Americans, showing up uninvited. Removing their clothes in public. Yelling and being loud. Just look at them, thinking they can save the world. Typical Americans, always celebrating with their typical American beer. So next time someone labels you typical, show them what typical can do.
So the inspiration behind that was, here comes this black kid from South Africa and says, you guys are all a bunch of typical Americans, right? And telling to the biggest, probably advertiser of the Super Bowl. But there was something quite special about this. Was all the stories that were played here and that you saw were actually real, true stories of people who were doing far more than typical things. So we actually went and we found those stories. We reshot them, some of them, like that race, the lady that was racing, we actually went to that race and we actually shot that part of the commercial there, right? And so for me, I started falling in love with individuals that not only build communities, but they can actually be a part of the community that builds brands, right? Fast forward, I then moved to, because I was in Chicago, I was in Miami, and then I went to Chicago, and then I moved to New York to be the global creative director for Adidas and Uber and Instagram at that time. And when the opportunity came to be a part of branding our city and creating a brand, which is now called Jozi My Jozi, for me, it was one of those once-in-a-lifetime decisions that I had to make. Everything was nice. I was getting paid in dollars. I was living in New York. It was, everything was so nice. But at the time, I always say the two hardest decisions I've ever had to make was leaving South Africa and coming back. The coming back one was because people were like, why do you want to go back home? There's no electricity. You don't like electricity, you know? So I'm like, guys, this is home, right? So for me, I wanted to come back and be a part of the change and a part of the South Africa that I'm proud of, you know? Because I think most of the time when people leave, it's almost like they want nothing to do with South Africa. And it's always like negative, you know, narratives from that side. So I wanted to come back home and be a part of creating. Firstly, I want to say the city that I could be proud of. If I'm in another city, people are like, where do you come from? Like, no, Jozi, you know. And that's when the inspiration to come back home and be a part of the founding members of starting Jozi My Jozi. So the task for Jozi My Jozi was very simple. It's like, let's inspire the people of Jozi to bring life back into the inner city. Without the people, you have no brand, you have no city. Without the people that actually care about the city. And those people, like, once again, it goes back to community, creating a sense of community. And the ambitions, I think, as Rose said, it sounded like we're smoking socks. If we're saying there's this bunch of individuals that think they can actually help revitalize the inner city of Joburg. But the mission was very simple. Inspired by our constitution, we wanted to create a powerful movement for people, by the people. And so when I first got into the conversations of coming back home, I said to our fellow founding partners, I was like, one thing we don't want to do is create this fake thing that is not authentic, just another NGO, just here today, gone tomorrow. And so more than creating an NGO, how about we create a movement? Right? Because then people can decide if they want to be a part of that movement or not. And when you get to create a movement, you have the right kind of people along with you, even if it's 5, even if it's 10, right? And this movement was connecting every person who wants to make a difference, from corporates to everyday people of Jozi. And we call Jozi My Jozi a super connector, connecting the one thing I've realized, and coming back home, I see it even more now, is Joburg or South Africa has no shortage of people who actually want to do good. People just don't know where to go to do good, right? And so when you become a brand that connects the goodwill and the good heart with people that have got the budgets and the corporate backing to do good, I think we then start to create this, I want to say, community of active citizens, South Africans, if we will call it that. So to inspire sustainable solutions for the inner city and creating a snowball of positive change. One thing we hope that this does is, Jozi My Jozi is just here to start something. And we want everybody else, whether in their own cities, maybe it's Durban, maybe it's I don't know, all the way to even smaller towns in the Free State, you could probably use that same kind of model to say, we're going to take people in the community and plug them in with brands, with corporates, with NGOs, and then they actually are part of creating that solution instead of like us coming with solutions. Because to be honest, even I don't live in the inner city, so I wouldn't know even where to start, right? I always say like, I'm just a branding, advertising, creative guy. So when it was like, come back and do this thing for rejuvenation of the inner city, I don't know city planning. I don't know how the city works, all the issues that they're actually faced with, right? But 2 years down the line, I still don't know, right? Which is, as a creative, you always want to create and be in a place where you constantly want to learn. You constantly are saying, I don't know. So you go into the communities and you ask for the solutions. And then just creatively, you serve those solutions back to the people. The one and first thing I said is we need to treat the city like a brand. And the biggest inspiration that I had in my thinking was, I love New York. This is iconic. This is simple. Most of the time, we try to complicate things as creatives. We want like something fancy. But you take this brand, and nowadays, I love Chicago. I love China with the same fonts, right? And that's an iconic brand. And so my vision is always to be like, how do we create a brand that is just as simple, right? And people can actually just also choose to wear it with heart. Not of this thing of like, now you've created this thing with love and like you've put your brand on a t-shirt and then they use it to wash your car, right? So create a valuable brand that people actually would love to wear. And I say to the guys, before anything, I said, if this brand can work on a t-shirt, it can work in a boardroom. Because then people are saying, like, I'm wearing this thing with pride. And I'll show you a little bit more of the strategy when it comes to merchandising. So, like we say, this is a movement. It's an ode to the city that we love. It's our constitution in action. Ever since coming back, I've been having like interesting presentations at interesting places. And one of those places was at, is it a pre-taxi rank, right? Because to do this kind of thing, you have to include everyone, even the taxi association. Everybody must come to the table. And I remember reading the manifesto to Jozi My Jozi, which I'm going to play for you guys now. There was silence in the room, but like you have to imagine, like it's not like you're in like these fancy boardrooms, what. It's like I have my laptop, I'm holding it like this, playing it loud, and then there's like security, like guns everywhere. So like now I'm nervous as well to present. So I finished presenting, and one of like the leaders of the Faradale Taxi Association, he says to me, "For Melusi, here in pre-taxi rank we use the language of Shambok, which means if things are not going right, you Shambok the situation, right? But it's like, I love this language even more, right? Because this language is saying, we're going to do this, not by gentrification, but by human dignity, right? And treating everybody like, they deserve to be treated. So this is the manifesto and the love letter I wrote to Jozi. So I wrote this love letter even before I got on the plane coming back home. And as I was writing it more and more, the brand actually revealed itself in the letter that I was writing.
Jozi My Jozi. This is the heart of Mzansi. A city that gets its heartbeat from its people. And we're a city with great history, diversity and opportunity. Jozi My Jozi. Yabona la siyapusha, siyacreator, siyadominator, lalela siyapoperator. When they say resta, we don't stop. We keep it moving. We are pioneers, lovers, and plugs. We are always chasing dreams, right to the finish line. Jozi My Jozi.
the city of gold. But the gold of our city is we. We, the people. Our resilience, our culture, our creativity. We are the backbone and hope for our city. And together, we'll make Jozi the gold standard of cities around the world. A city that is safe for all. A city that is not built by skyscrapers, but by its people. A city where the unseen becomes seen and where the voiceless are heard. Some may look at our city and think, we have no way forward. But guess what? We will make one, because that is who we are. That is what we do. It's time for us, the people of Jozi, to make the city of gold shine brighter than it ever has. So it's time for all of us to help fix and create a city we can all proudly call Jozi My Jozi.
Jozi My Jozi. And that's how the name and the brand and what we now call the NGO was born, from a term of endearment, but it was also the part of ownership, right? Saying, this is my Jozi, right? Making sure that people remember that this is like the issues that we face. We're not just gonna say, I know it's the city of Joburg's problems. I know it's the ANC. It's like, this is also my city. And so if I can be part of, the solution. So Jozi My Jozi, like I said in summary, is a super connector. It's a catalyst for change. It's a call to action to the people of Jozi to re-love, reimagine, and re-experience the magic of our city. I'm just going to talk a little bit about the logo creation, because the logo creation itself is actually inspired by the city. So we know Joburg is very rough around the edges, and also we love Joburg for what it is, right? Like, if you go to Cape Town and everything works, you're like, it's so boring. yeah, like every. No, we want a little bit. You don't know. Sometimes it can be right. So we are imperfect in just the right way. It's that imperfection that makes us beautiful. It's unique and one of a kind. This is the imperfection we wanted to embrace and celebrate when we're designing this logo. We didn't want something but when you see it all together, it works perfectly. Like the chaos, right? The reason like we use different characters of a logo to represent the diversity of the inner city as well. One of the most diverse cities in the world, right? But it just ended up working. And that's Jozi. In its chaos, in its craziness, it somehow works, right? So a little bit of how we show up. For me, I wanted to create a brand that the messaging of it, it's a part of the messaging. So you'll see now, you celebrate the people of Jozi and realize that they are actually the gold of the city. They are actually the gold of Jozi. But in order to do that, I wanted a logo that actually also works as a payoff line, right? So if you're reading this, it's Jozi My Jozi, your people are gold. And most of the time, brands do it the other way around. It's like they have this cool caption, and then they write like their small, brand sign off. And we wanted to create a brand where the messaging is actually part of the logo. Jozi My Jozi, you're filled with so much culture. We love your style. You have so much flavor. And then people can start to make it their own, right? They can start to create their own love letters to Jozi. So, Jozi My Jozi, you will forever have my heart. My dreams are built here, which my dreams were, my career started here. And so this is the kind of messaging that people can actually take it and make their own and say, this is what Jozi means to me, right? It's adaptable. Then, like I spoke about it a little earlier on, is so the actual, I want to say, NGO brand of Jozi has like all these different streams. There is education stream, there's transport stream, there is the homeless stream, and I look after the branding stream, but to make sure that all the other streams are actually using the brand in the correct way and stuff like that. And then there's merchandising, which is its own stream as well. And for me, once again, going back into being collaborators, how do you work with young creatives, young designers in the inner city to actually create your line, right? To create your range of merchandising. So it becomes a co-creation thing. So these are just some of the things in store, working with different designers. I'm Jozi Made. And then gave this brief to different designers, like what would you put that represent Jozi on a t-shirt? And just the richness of the city of like the creators, they can just like create itself, right? It's in the making. It's in the making. No, these we have now. These hoodies. So I took them, the manifesto, the one Jozi My Jozi, and like to write it on our hoodies, and you break it up, so it becomes almost like a collection for people to get. Started doing more. This I'm probably gonna have for you in the summertime. These bucket hats. Okay. So it could be like, once again, this different creators, but it works as one range, right? And it feels like you want the entire collection of what is being created. Okay, so the next part, which is also part of like the biggest thing I said up front, was we need to not only be a storyteller kind of brand. We need to find a balance between story doing and storytelling. Most brands are only trapped in the one side. It's like, so if you are a brand that's talking about creating change, you actually have to make things happen, right? And so we've got this thing where we're like, okay, cool, it's going to be story doing, and then we're going to capture it and tell that story. So doing it the other way around, unlike just talking promises. Because one thing we realized that people are tired of promises. People are tired of promises. And that's where I think the lack of trust is like, another NGO, you're promising you're going to fix this thing. So we just do it, and we're figuring it out as we go. And then we just like, here's our case studies of the things that we do. The first and I want to say the biggest one, so I won't show all of them because I've been doing projects with Standard Bank. Anglo has been doing art stuff. Nando's has been doing collaborations with artists in the inner city. So there's different brands leaning in to, I want to say, donate a project or take care of a project. So how Jozi My Jozi works is we'll identify a project, and then we have a project lead, and then we say, EBSA, there's a bridge that needs to be fixed, and then directly EBSA will go and invest into that project, right? And so the first one was actually the Mandela Bridge project. The reason why we wanted to start here was this bridge was like, it was bad. It was one of those things where you like, it's an iconic bridge, right? But people were not safe. People were getting mugged there. And the roll-on effect of having that was that the students can now just go from Bri to Wits to, now they must pay an extra taxi fee so that they can safely cross the bridge. So there's just like something that we would think like, it's just bridge infrastructure, right? And once again, once we did this, once we fixed this, now there's constant securities on the bridge, thanks to the likes of EBSA. There's about 2,000 students that cross this bridge every single day, all right? And the impact that it's had has been like massive, right? And so these are the kind of projects we want to do more of. but also leaning into corporate leaders like we spoke about. Because one thing we can never do is you probably won't have enough budget or money to actually fix all the problems that are in the city. So if you actually divvy up with private, public, and the city has actually played a very important part, because you can't do anything without the city. So first of all, you have to get the city's buy-in for them to say, Jozi My Jozi, come in as our strategic partners. Tell us where we're going right, where we're going wrong, and working together, right? You can't even fix a pothole in Joburg without the city's approval. You get arrested, So that collaboration was very important, even actually bigger than all the corporate investments that you can get, because even with all the money, if on the other side you don't have partnership, nothing gets done, nothing happens. So this brings me to my favorite project that we're busy with right now. As we know, the G20 is here, or some people are here, or some people have never left. And so what we thought is for Jozi My Jozi, instead of trying to be this, I want to say, super brand and say, we know Jozi because Jozi My Jozi, and so now we're going to run the G20. We decided that we actually are going to be the on-the-ground, unofficial partner of the G20. The reason why is when you think of the G20, everything happens up here. And so we wanted to concentrate on the ground, the communities. So what does this actually mean for the people of Jozi? So I came up with this idea, this campaign called Babize Bonke. You guys are probably going to see, you're going to see this. I haven't shown this to anyone. This is the first time this is going to be shown, and because it's still in edit, right? But yeah, like seeing these stories just gives me so much faith, not just in Jozi, but like in our people, right? There are people who are doing amazing things in our city. So Babize Bonke, as the G20 comes to South Africa, on our African continent, for the first time, we need to show the world what Jozi is made of. We need to call on everybody to come and see the actions of the invisible. Individuals who work hard, are determined, resilient, people who are showing up every single day for the city that we might not know. And so how about we use this moment to actually spotlight them and say, guys, instead of going wherever, go to that small place where this mama is doing guidance and go and see how you can help her, right? So Babize Bonke, meaning to call them all. This is more than a call to action, but a call to come see the actions of the invisibles. So I'm going to play a few films, probably like, I think 4 or 5. And yeah, I want to dim the light a little bit because I think it's going to be nice with the lights dimmed. How do I do that, Ross?
The heartbeat of the city for us is based on the people in the city and all that's happening. We wanted to be the melting pot of all of this. We didn't want to be part of making the city decay even more. We knew that eventually we were going to have to get a space where we can do everything the way we want. And Jozi Prophet as a point of pride for our city. There's always gems, and we are the gem. We need to create a home for people from outside to come see us. So we are an actual everyday love letter to the city by offering our services and ourselves as curators in the city of Johannesburg. And that's why
That basement jazz place is in Braamfontein. You go in there, it's a crazy, crazy experience, but nobody knows about it, right? And so now we want to tell more of these stories and show people these individual stories.
Giving to me, it means you are saving a life. I always feel happy with myself because of giving to others. I realize that if I do gardens, I will be feeding more of my peers. Jozi gave me a chance to become who I am. It taught me strength and it taught me to care. Through my work, I pass it on to hold space for others. My name is Melusi Mhlungu. I do gardens for the community.
Right, this lady who just feeds her peers. Very small story, big impact.
What I love about bringing art into public space is it makes it part of everyday life. The city's got this amazing wealth of artists. Babize Bonke to me is bringing these artists to life, giving them a space to show their work and to contribute to the city. We have this huge range of people here from like all different backgrounds and different places, and that just adds to the process. Everybody's doing different stuff. Throw those ideas together, and it's a pretty powerful thing to happen. It's an economy which sustains itself in so many different ways.
Jozi became my home, and I hope through art to make everybody feel welcome here.
What's interesting about James's story is that he actually creates these public arts places to beautify the inner city, right? And so how you've seen it around the world where art becomes a central part of beautifying the city. And his story has been, one of my most inspirational things to watch as another creator doing his part.
We were looking around trying to find things that resonated with us. It was about reimagining what the city could be and look like for different creatives. This city is very rich with its history, its tension, and most importantly, the possibilities that exist within it. Beauty can exist next to the taxi ride. The endless creative possibilities of reimagining spaces and experiences and the people that you can draw within the city that really keep me embedded and rooted. What Jozi eventually became for me is a home. It helped me, it inspired me to hold space for others. We are inviting people to feel the city's embrace and, call it home as well.
Mama Gashaga, she's based in Braamfontein, and now she's become like one of our strategic, partners on other projects with Jozi My Jozi. But once again, young people who are doing insanely crazy things in the city. And
Global Educate, a place where we unleash our creativity, in a space where you meet a like-minded person, where you could find 3,000, 4,000 kids all meeting at this spot to exchange ideas. Making music, beats, rapping, breakdancing, graffiti. Culture is what dope means. That's where the love comes. That's where the lifeline is.
You can't always take from the city, you also need to give to the city. The more you give into the city, is the more the city gives opportunities to new people. From back to the City Hip Hop Festival, down to the Hip Hop Awards, Hip Hop Museum, and right down here in Newtown.
And that's Hip Hop Museum in the Newtown inner city. So there are more of these stories that are going to be unfolding, being told. This is like a series of 8 that we're going to start with. And as we do this, obviously partnering up with the likes of Prime Media, 702, to actually get the individuals to be interviewed, speak about their businesses, people to actually go into the inner city and support them. So it's not just another tell a story. It's actually making sure that whatever we do helps support some of these individuals. And that's how we think we're going to make Jozi better again, through people.